or I will forget to do that later. Just a couple reminders for you. TCAP, that is next week. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on this and just kind of remind you of your times and days. So let's see here. Scroll down. None of us are third graders, so don't worry about that. Let's go down to fourth, fifth, and sixth grade testing. And you're going to notice that, unfortunately, sorry, fifth graders, your testing is a little bit longer than everybody else's because you have science as well in fifth grade. But everybody else, so this is fourth grade, you will be testing on Tuesday.
Really just 10 more seconds for fifth grade. Really just 10 more seconds.
Oh, the exact, well, yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
1 minute, 10 seconds.
it's actually more like an hour and 10 minutes, but either way, yeah, okay. So fourth grade, you're going to be there from 8:30 until 1:15. Fifth grade, you're going to be there from 8:30 to 2:25. And sixth grade, again, 8:30 to 1:15. So you're going to need to bring your own lunch. So I'm just gonna type this on here. Bring lunch, water, snacks, books, anything that, maybe like a magazine or whatever. So when you're done, you'll have something to do. And then, of course, you obviously want to be able to eat. So um, make sure that you have all of those. And it's only 3 days. It's next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The location, I'll just scroll up to the top. Oh, it's not on this one. It's on one that I sent out, though. It's at the Oakwood building, and your parents will be able to find it. It's 701 Oakwood Street, and I believe that's in Castle Rock as well. So just that's just a little update on TCAP. So, any questions on anything, I guess? No? Okay, well, let me make sure I'm. And Jacob, no, it's not the same place as last year. It's a different building, so okay. Anyway, and then during TCAP, we are going to be, a lot of you were able to come to the Denver Dumb Friends League presentation, and we're going to be collecting pennies or really any kind of money that you want to donate to the Denver Dumb Friends League, as well as different items that they need. And so let me just pull up that document, and I have sent this out, and I'll send it out like 8 more times before next week. But just here's a couple things that if you have these type of things that you can donate, these are things that they can use. So you can bring it, and then we will make sure that it gets to the Denver Dumb Friends League. Okay, and Jacob, it does not matter what kind of snack you bring; it is totally up to you. Okay, so let's just see. Let's type a yes or a happy face in the chat if you were able to pull up the agenda on your own computer screen. Okay, good. And it doesn't matter if it's a private message or to everybody. I'm just asking, making sure that you are able to get this up on your own computer screen because we're going to be clicking on some links here in a minute. Okay, looks like Will is good. Okay, good. Jack. So if you haven't done so already, make sure that you have it up because I'm going to be telling you which link or image, I should say, you're going to be clicking on. So I'm going to be putting you into different groups. Whoa, somebody's changing my spelling. Let's just leave it. Okay. All right, guys. So hopefully we all are on the same page. We are going to start out with a little bit of a reading review just to kind of get our brains warmed up. And then we're going to look at some practice problems directly from old TCAP tests. And then we're going to do some writing prompts. And then we'll finish up with math. So, okay. All right, and Corbin, make sure that you look in your email because that's where you would find this agenda. Okay, so I'm going to put you into groups. We are going to be looking at different images. And in your groups, you're going to make 3 inferences about what is happening in the picture. Okay, so an inference, once again, is making an educated guess. If the author had put a caption under the picture, well, then you wouldn't have to guess because the author was going to tell you what's going on in the picture. But none of these pictures have captions or any kind of words. So you are going to have to decide with your group what you think is happening. And somebody has already shared, and they did all of the images, so that's super cool. But either way, that's why you see all of this writing underneath the images. Then you're going to make with your group 3 predictions about what might be happening next. Okay? And last but not least, with your group, you are going to be making 3 questions. So you're probably wondering, how am I going to talk to my group members? Well, all of you have the ability to send your group members chat messages. So if you look on your GoToMeeting control panel, you can choose who you're going to send the message to. So you can choose to send it obviously to me. You can choose to send it to one of your classmates, and that's what you're going to be doing as soon as you know who you're grouped with. Okay, so let me count how many kids we have. We have Autumn, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Oh, sorry. We have 13. And yes, Sierra, you're counting me and you're counting the guest, which is also me. So there's only 13. And yes, Kaylee, I was going to put you in a group with your brother because that would be way easier for you guys. Okay, so here are your groups. Autumn, you are going to be grouped with Christian and Kaylee Pruitt. Okay, so you guys are going to look at image number 1. So go ahead and click on image number 1. And you guys can start making your inferences, your predictions, and your questions. Okay? Corbin, you are going to be grouped with Jack. So Corbin and Jack, you are going to look at image number 2. So just scroll down a little ways and you'll click on image number 2. Okay, Jacob, you are going to be partnered with Jaden. And I'm sure you guys can guess, you are going to be looking at image number 3. All right. Josh, why don't you be in a group with your brother and your sister and Autumn and look at image number 1, because I know you guys are probably sharing the computer. Lucas, you are going to be with Sierra, and you could probably guess you're going to be looking at image number 4. TJ, Vero, and Will. Actually, Will, you're going to be in the same group as Corbin and your brother Jack. Okay, so you guys are going to be looking at image, I believe it was number 2. And so TJ and Vero, you are going to look at image number 5 together. Okay? All right, so I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to start looking at this image and sending messages in the chat to your partners. And Jacob, Jacob, you were with Jaden. Okay, and you guys were looking, I believe, at image number 3. So, Jaden, maybe you can confirm that with him because I don't quite remember, but I'm sure you do, Jaden. Okay, so fun stuff. So we have 9:41 on the clock. At about 9:46, I'm going to ask somebody from your group members to share 3 inferences, 3 predictions, and 3 questions. So in the chat right now, I'm just kind of reminding you who your group members are in case you had forgotten. Okay. Awesome. And if you have any questions as you're going along here, you can send me a chat message because I'm watching the chat right now. Okay. So Jaden, you're image 3. I'll just pull up image 3 for Jaden. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the images just in case somebody has not been able to view one. Lucas, I believe you were image 4. So Lucas and Sierra, this would be your image. So just between the two partners or 3 or more partners, depending on brothers and sisters, somebody is going to be sharing verbally in a minute your 3 inferences, 3 predictions, and 3 questions. Okay, so that was image 4. I'll just show them all just in case for some reason you weren't able to look at it. This was image 5. This would be TJ and Vero. Okay, and image 2, I believe, was Corbin, Will, and Jack. So this was image 2. Okay, and image 1 was Autumn with the Pruitt gang. Okay. All right. Who needs more time? If anybody needs more time, okay, Jacob, it looks like maybe needs a couple more minutes or seconds. Remember, 3 inferences. You're just telling me what you think is happening in the picture. That's an inference. Predictions, what will happen next? And of course, you know what a question is. Okay, all right, couple more minutes. I'm going to keep flashing these images for anybody. Now remember, you don't have to be the one who makes all three images between your group members. Three inferences. Maybe your group member has one inference and you had two inferences. Well, together that's three. Okay, image one again. No need to type them into the chat because we're going to be sharing them verbally. Will, an inference is just telling me what you think is happening. So Will, this is your picture, what you think might be happening. Okay. I'll go back to image 3. Depressing. Quick view of image 4 one more time. And quick flash of image 5 one more time. Okay. All right, guys, so even if you're not like 100% done, that's okay. We're going to go ahead and share what we have. And yeah, Josh, you can't find Autumn on the chat because it looks like she had to sign out and then she just signed back in. So not a big deal. So we are going to start with image 1. And so the kiddos who were in the group for image 1, I'm going to turn your microphones back on so that you'll be able to speak. Okay, so give me just a second. Okay, so yes, I have Josh, Kaylee, Christian, and Autumn, who were all in one group for image number 1. Who would like to share one inference that you made when you looked at this picture? And anybody can just speak up. Okay, so an inference is, again, just what you think might be happening. Because remember, there's no caption telling me what's happening. So you have to just kind of look at the picture and decide. So Christian, why don't you tell what you guys had discussed?
What?
Why don't you go ahead and share one of the inferences that your group made?
Okay. One of them was the car's going to get stuck in the water and is trying to get out.
Okay, so that's kind of a prediction, actually. So you think it's going to get stuck in the water. But perhaps, what do you think is going on in this picture? Like, when you look at this picture, what is this person doing?
It's trying to drive through the water because there was a flood, maybe.
Yeah, so okay, perfect inference. This person is simply trying to get through a flood. And you already shared one prediction with me. Your prediction was that they're going to get stuck. Is there another prediction?
I don't know.
Anybody can share, not just Christian. Autumn, do you have a prediction?
He already named mine.
Okay. Well, then let's ask a question. Any kind of question you might have by looking at this image. My question would be, why would somebody choose to put themselves in danger and drive through a flood? There must be something really important going on if they actually chose to get out in their car and try to get through this. Because anybody in their right mind probably wouldn't do that. So, any other questions you might have? Okay. Quiet group number 1. Well, thank you. All right. I am going to turn on the microphones for group number 2, which was Jack, Will, Jack and Will. And Corbin, you can type anything you want me to say out loud into the chat. All right, Will, where are you? There you are. Okay. All right, so let's look at the image that these kiddos looked at. image number 2. Okay, so this is the image that they had. Jack, why don't you be the spokesperson and tell us one inference that your group made? Jack, are you there?
Okay, hang on, sorry.
It's okay.
My mic's like,
Go ahead, Jack. Did your group get to make an inference about what you think might be going on in this picture?
yeah,
Oh, wow. So you're cutting out big time. So maybe you can type it. Yeah, and Jacob's telling us it's a lot of lag. Maybe you could type your thought into the chat. Um, Corbin, you can too. You can type your inference, you can type your prediction, and then your questions. Anything that you came up with when you looked at this picture. Corbin says that he thinks that they're hungry, and probably because they are, hanging around this big tree here, which we all know that they're probably going to eat something off the tree. I'm wondering what's going on with the buildings in the background. Are they escapees? So that was a question. Or maybe this is a zoo that's kind of like our zoo here in Denver. It's a city zoo. Corbin says he thinks that they might be new to the zoo. Okay, very good. And an inference is that they're just hanging out, probably at a zoo, eating. Okay. All right, so that was image number 2. So this is kind of a hard exercise, guys, but TCAP isn't always easy either. So you need to really think. So let's look at image 3, and that would have been Jaden and Jacob. All right, so Jacob has typed in at least a couple questions for us when he looked at image 3. He wants to know, where is the dog and how did the dog get into, it looks like, this mess? The dog, he's making an inference that the dog may have gotten lost or the owner left him for the Denver Done Friends League to pick up. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm looking at this image and I'm thinking maybe looking at the rocks and the way this house looks up here, maybe there was some kind of like a tornado or something, and maybe the dog got stuck. So an inference might be um, that this dog was, in some kind of natural disaster and is in trouble. And Jaden is sending the message that he thinks that the dog got dropped and the owner left him. So there's a lot of different inferences that you can make from this image. And the dog obviously does not look happy. Yeah, I'm going to make the prediction that somebody is going to come and take the dog, probably to the veterinarian because it looks like it might be injured. You could see that there's rocks on top of it. So that would be a prediction. Anything else, group 3, that you would like to add? Okay, well then we'll move on to group 4, which would have been Mr. Lucas and Sierra. So Sierra, okay, so Lucas, he's making the inference that people are throwing up their hats, and he thinks that's funny. Well, when does this usually happen?
When you just graduated from college
Yes, thank you,
or
Sierra.
high school.
Yes, so this is a graduation, and I'm going to make the inference that it's probably college because looking at these people, they don't look like they're high school kids. Um, what else might be going on in this picture, Sierra?
Well, it kind of looks like there's a guy who has a weird green sheet on his hand, which
Uh-huh.
I think he's announcing it randomly.
Yeah. So he is the probably announcer. Now, let's make the inference about the country that these people might be in. Does this look like an American dude?
No,
No, I don't think so either. So make an inference that you would think it's probably going on in a different country. And just judging by his outfit, I'm thinking maybe Scotland or
I
England.
have I have two places where I think. In the background behind all the hats, there's the picture of the uh kind of on the side of England's queen.
Hmm.
So I think it's England.
Very good. And
And I
Lucas
think
said that
that was
he made the inference that maybe it's Irish. So you guys are getting a little bit deeper now. See, this is good. This is obviously a graduation, but the more you study the picture, the more you can tell by looking at it. I'm going to make the prediction that somebody's going to get hit in the face with a cap. No, no, I'll make the prediction that these people are going to go and celebrate after they have just graduated from college, and then go on to try to get a job.
oh one
Any other questions anybody came up with?
I did.
Okay.
One of my question was, what time of year is it? Like, is it cold out? Is it warm?
Oh, that's
You
a
can't really
really
tell. The
great
sky is
question.
pure white.
Yeah,
So
I
I
know.
don't.
It's kind of strange. To me, this white sky kind of means it's probably overcast, so really cloudy. Lucas is making the inference that maybe it's fall. I don't think it's winter because I'm looking at how they're dressed, and they're not dressed in like real heavy clothing. Like this chick's wearing a skirt, and so yeah, maybe. Well, then again, when do graduations usually happen? They usually happen in the spring. So it's probably spring.
Yes. And there's another question that I had, which doesn't really go with the whole picture, but over in the corner where the guy's announcing, why does he have a horn?
Well, he uses his horn to get attention, probably.
And he'd have a bullhorn. This
Yeah.
is a horn, like drinking.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Must be
traditional
hot back.
English attire might be a little bit different than us. So, okay. Let's go on to group number 5. Thank you, Sierra, for actually speaking up, and that was really great. All
Mhm.
right, so group number 5 was our good friends Vero and TJ. So your chat is open as well as your microphones are on. So do you want to make an inference about what's going on in this picture? Vero, do you have anything you'd like to add or tell us?
This looks like a beach in California,
Okay.
and it looks like it's it's winter because there's ice in the picture.
Ooh, very good inferences, Vero. This was actually, I mean, you can look at it and just glance and say, oh, well, that's just really easy. It's a beach. But Vero took it a little bit deeper and she sees that maybe there's some ice. And so it's a cold beach. She thinks it might be California. There's really no way to tell that because I don't know, we can't really tell by just these little rocks. But maybe it looks like a beach in California that Vero has been to. TJ thinks that the waves could be
I haven't
coming in.
been to any in California.
Oh, well, maybe you've
Looks
just
like it
seen
because
some.
of the clouds and the
Yeah,
sun.
she's just looking at the clouds and the sun. Very good. Any predictions from this picture?
Um, I predict that it will be dark soon.
Very good. That's a very good one because look, the sun is setting. So yeah, it's going to be dark soon. I predict that there's nobody on the beach right now, so there's probably not going to be anybody else on the beach when the sun goes down. So very good. Any questions about this picture?
How cold is the water?
Yeah, that's a good question. And what do you predict as far as the temperature of the water when the sun goes down?
I think it will be way below freezing.
Probably so. And TJ is predicting that there's not going to be anyone there until the morning. And that definitely makes sense. Another thing, too, I mean, I don't see any lifeguards or anything, so this beach probably closes at night. Okay. All right, guys. So that was kind of fun. You got to work with some of your classmates and actually people that you might not know because they're in different grade levels. But that was really cool. Let's just take a look at what a reading test will look like for, and these are CSAP. So these are, you're not going to see the exact type of thing. This is from a couple years ago, but it is still very similar. It hasn't changed all that much. So let's just look at what one of them looks like. Now, we just did this. We looked at images and we were able to think a little bit more. There's no caption. So what does this image tell you? And it will be more helpful if you look at the image and you read the title. So right away, you should be thinking, go ahead, Jaden. Do you have something you want to say it verbally? Okay, so let me unmute Jaden. So right now, we're just practicing making inferences. Go ahead, Jaden.
Um, I think that the flower or rose, whatever the thing is, I think if the thing is dying or something, or if people are trying to throw a ball into it.
Sure. Well, and Jacob just typed into the chat that the title made him change his mind. Once you read Carnival Glass, right away, did you think that maybe this was a glass flower? You should have, because you have to put the entire picture together, and the title definitely helps you. So, all grade levels, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, will have some kind of reading passage that looks kind of like this. You're going to have a picture, you're going to have some kind of fictional story. You can tell that it's fiction because look, there's dialogue. Dialogue is when people are talking. And then, oh, look, another picture. What's going on in this picture? And I will unmute Sierra.
Someone's giving like someone's giving an award to somebody.
Well, sure,
Well,
it
it
could
looks
be
like
an award, but
that
what was the title of the story again? It was called Carnival Glass.
I think this man in the photo, he's giving little girls nice bowls or stuff like that.
Very good. And Jacob,
probably a glass.
yeah, he's selling the glass. Maybe, and TJ is saying somebody won the glass. You know how you play carnival games? Well, maybe they actually won the prize. Okay, very good. So this is exactly what we just did when we looked at those images a second ago. And this is what I would expect that you're able to do when you get your reading test is to build a little bit more of the story by using the pictures and using the title and using any clues that they give you. Okay, now we have another picture. Oh, wow, and I just barely glanced and I see the word grandma too. So now make an inference about what may be going on in this picture.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead, Jaden. Your microphone's on.
the the girl who won the prize is showing her grandma that she won the prize.
Exactly. And do you think maybe she's giving it to her grandma? It looks like her grandma is like accepting it and it was maybe a special prize that she won, but now she wants to give it to her grandma. So already I know a ton about this story and I didn't even read any of it yet. When you get your reading test, that's what I would expect that you do first. Here's a really good strategy. Look at your title, look at your pictures, and then look at your questions. Why would I look at my questions before I even read the story? Anybody want to take a guess? Jacob said in the chat that it helps. Go ahead, Vero.
Because
While you're reading,
you already saw the pictures.
Sure. And Vero, what was your thought?
you can try to answer the questions.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for, Vero. As you were reading the story, you have these questions in the back of your mind. So you kind of know what you're looking for when you're reading the story. Okay? So let's just look at the question. Explain why Jane's grandmother is so glad that she chose to try for the dish instead of going on a ride or buying candy apples. Use details from the stories to support your explanation. So, as I read the story, I'm going to look for clues about Jane's grandmother and why she wants her to try for the dish. Okay? So, in the back of your mind, that's what you should be thinking. And then let's look at the next question. Oops, it's the same one. What they're doing here is they're showing you an example of a good response. Here's a good response. And then they show you examples of bad responses. Notice a good response used complete sentences and they used the entire space provided. Okay, I'm going to scroll down to another question. Okay, so this isn't a question, but this would be a chart. So in my story, I'm going to have to pay attention to what three members, Ellie, Mama, and Papa, and how they reacted. Okay, and then of course here's here's a good example. Notice it's a complete sentence. She didn't, she didn't use like the entire space, but she used enough detail. Okay, so the whole point of that little exercise was just to show you some reading strategies, how to make an inference, looking at your pictures, looking at the titles, and then, this might be something you've never done before, reading the questions first. And we're not going to go back and actually read this story because it will take us forever, but you will have that opportunity next week. And Jacob said that that really helps. And that's good because that is a huge reading strategy. Okay, everybody, let's stand up and stretch because we're about to move into writing. Woohoo! So stand up, give yourself a shake. Woo, woo. Stretch. Autumn, you look very excited this morning. She's stretching, okay? All right. Awesome. And nope, Jacob is in 5th grade. So, all right, Will, are you ready? Give me a happy face in the chat if you're ready to move on to writing strategies. Okay, happy face, yay! Yay! Okay, looks like we're all doing pretty good. We're ready. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of different writing prompts that you might get. Okay, so there is something very important about the long writing pieces. Going back to, oh, I already have it up on my screen. That question that we just saw in the reading test, it does not give you a place to plan your writing. And that's because it's only a paragraph long. Most of your answers are going to be short responses, but you do have one long writing piece. And what they expect you to do is make a plan. So this is something that I know my 4th graders definitely get practice with, but my 5th and 6th graders, you need to see this as well. Okay, so let's just look at the writing prompt and then we can talk about different types of writing plans. And a plan is kind of like your rough draft, or no, it's actually even before your rough draft. It's kind of like your thoughts, and then your rough draft happens. So, a kangaroo can hop as fast as a slow moving car. Imagine you can hop like a kangaroo for one day. Write a story. So, right away, here's a clue. It's going to be a story to tell what happens, how you feel, and how you return to normal. You need to include characters, details, and a beginning, middle, and end. So I'm going to make my pen a little skinnier here. Okay, so when I'm writing a story, I mean, there is no right or wrong way to plan your writing. The point is, you just have to have a plan. But right away, when I see the words beginning, middle, and end, I think of like 3 different boxes. So this is just me planning a writing piece. In your own head, you might be doing it completely differently, and that is fine. So I'm going to say beginning, middle, and end. Underneath here, guess what I'm going to write? I'm going to list out a couple details under the beginning, middle, and end. But it also told me that I need to include some characters. So maybe I want to come over here and I want to have a character named Ed. Okay. So I'm going to have some details about Ed. And Ed, maybe he is the zookeeper. Sorry, this pen is terrible. You have no idea how hard it is to write with. Okay. Maybe Ed is 36 years old. I don't know. Anyway, maybe the character, you, as the kangaroo, you need to have details about you. Okay, so notice I have made a complete mess of this paper, but I have planned my writing. So this is step 1. You have to have a plan. Is there a right or a wrong plan? No, there's not. Step 2 is your rough draft. All of this is done on day number 1. So on day number 1, you will get a writing prompt, looks like this, and then you will make a plan and a rough draft. Anybody want to guess what you do on day number 2? On the second day, you will revise and edit, and then you will make your final copy. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my Google Doc because that was terrible writing with that silly pen. So I'm just going to write out the steps for you. Day 1, you will make a plan and write a rough draft. On day number 2, you will revise and edit your piece and you will make a final copy. Okay, so are there any questions on what the writing process looks like? Because I'm going to practice with a couple more different types of, I'm going to wipe this clean because, man, that's a mess. Different types of plans that you can do for writing. All right, let's say that you get a persuasive prompt. Maybe your prompt says, persuade people to either keep zoos or do away with zoos because you don't like animals in captivity. So you have to choose a side. Do you want to keep zoos the way they are so people can go and see animals and pay to see them behind bars? Or do you want to do away with zoos and maybe come up with like a habitat for animals where maybe people can still see them, but they're not locked up behind bars? You have to pick a side. So when you're planning your writing, maybe, oh, wow, that's terrible. Maybe you want to make a T-chart. What and why? I'm just going to pretend that I don't like zoos and I want to free the animals. So what? I want free animals. Okay. And why? I believe, oh wow, it is wrong to have them behind bars. Okay, so this is just one example of a writing plan, and I'm not doing very well writing with this pen, so I'm gonna wipe this one clean. Another type of writing plan, so that was a T-chart, so I'll just draw a small T-chart. Another writing plan is to make your bubbles, okay? So you can have all kinds of bubbles and the bubbles can connect to each other. Another writing plan would be to make a sequence chart where maybe you're showing what happens first, second, third. Another type of writing plan would be to make a list. Are any of these better than another? No, they are all good choices. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you have to have a plan. You will lose a ton of points if you do not plan your writing. Okay? Um, all right. Any questions on writing, or should we look at maybe one more example? Let's look at just one more writing prompt, just different kinds of weird questions that they ask you to write about. Okay, so we looked at 4th grade. Okay, so let's look at like a 5th grade writing prompt. Just kidding, that was 5th grade reading. That's the one we just looked at. Okay, so let's go to writing. Let's just see another example of a question. Click there. Okay, here's another example of a question. And notice all of this white space. What do you think they want you to do here? Oh, they want you to plan. Okay. Growing up involves taking on added responsibilities. Write a paragraph. Ooh, that's interesting that they only want a paragraph. To tell about one responsibility that you have in your life. So for this type of writing piece, maybe I would make a bubble chart. I would put whatever responsibility, like feeding my pets, inside of the bubble chart, and then I would make little lines coming out about the details. That's just one possibility. Okay. Give me a happy face in the chat if you are ready to move on to math. Okay, all right, yay, we are ready. I had one special request, and my 6th graders are going to be able to totally help with this. But all of you should probably get it. We are going to do a little lesson review on decimals to fractions, and then my 6th graders are good at this. We're going to even take it a step further and go to percents. Jacob, I am not sure why you can't see my screen, but everybody else seems to be able to, so maybe you need to log out and log back in. Okay, so let's go to decimals to fractions. And I just wanted to use this chart so that I can draw on top of it. So let me wipe this clean and make it as big as possible. Okay. All right, here we go. So we have decimals, whoop, fractions, I'm just going to put an F, and then percents, and I could put the little percent sign. All of these are related to each other. They are different ways of expressing the same quantity. So I'm going to start with something really easy. Okay, I'm going to start with something that you guys probably all recognize, the decimal 0.50. Now, a lot of us read our decimals this way. We say 0.5 or we say 0.50. Let's read it like we really should read it and read it as 5/10 or 50/100. Everyone, I don't care if your microphone's on or not, I want you to say 5/10. Okay? Same way of saying 50/100. So say 50/100. Okay, Jaden, why don't you go ahead and turn off your webcam because you're getting a little distracted. All right, so if you say it, you're going to be able to write it as a fraction a lot easier. 5/10. How do you write 5/10? 5/10. Okay? How do you write 50/100? And these are equivalent, by the way. 50/100. Now, the reason that I wanted to make sure that we had 50/100 in here, because these are equivalent, right? I mean, all I have to do is just reduce them down. And actually, I can take it even one step further, and we know that 5 is divisible by 5 as well as 10. So if I divide 5 by 5 and 10 by 5, I come up with the fraction 1/2. But the reason I wanted to show you out of 100 is because that's how you're going to get the percent. Percent is always out of 100. So if I have 50 out of 100, I have 50%. Okay, so there's a relationship between all three. And Autumn, you have a question, so let me turn on your microphone, Autumn, because everybody's muted right now because there was a lot of feedback. Okay, go ahead, Autumn.
I was just gonna say 50%. Never mind.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yes, you were going to just say 50%. That is the reason I'm showing out of 100. Percents, you have to think of it as of out of 100. Okay, let's do another easy example and then we're going to get harder. This is another one that a lot of people recognize. So you might not have to think too hard, but you will here in a minute. So the easy way to say this number is 0.75, but let's say it the correct way. This is 75/100. So write it as 75/100. Okay? 75/100. Now, I was just saying that any number out of 100 can be written easily as a percent. So right away, we just know that this is 75%. But this is not in simplest form, so we can reduce this down a little bit more. I know that 25 will be going into each one of these numbers, so I can divide 75 by 25 and I get 3. And if I divide 100 by 25, I get 4. So the simplest form is 3/4. Okay? All right. Give me a thumbs up or a happy face in the chat if this is making sense so far. Good job. Good job, Jack. Yes, I saw your private chat there. That was perfect. Okay. I'm actually going to wipe this clean because this is it's just too small for me to write in. So I'm just going to make my own terrible columns. But I'll do my best. Ah, why am I making the screen smaller? No. Stupid pen. Ah. All right, sorry. Let me just stretch this out as big as I can make it. Oh. Okay, whatever. I'll just wipe it clean each time. Okay, so we've had a couple easy examples. Now let's look at a harder example. So we have the decimal. Now I'm not going to say it the easy way anymore. The easy way is 0.625. The right way to say this number is 625 thousandths. So let's write it as 625 thousandths. Okay, so now it's getting a little bit harder because I can't immediately turn this into a percent because I'm not working with something out of 100. this is a really big number. I'm looking at it and I know that it can be reduced. I know that it can be reduced definitely by 5. So I'm going to give everybody just a couple minutes to divide 625 by 5 and then 1,000 by 5 and come up with a smaller fraction. Let's go ahead and do that right now. When you get the answer, go ahead and type it into the chat. So right now we're just reducing this fraction to make it easier to work with. Yep, Jaden, so 625 divided by 5 because we are reducing our fraction. Very good, Corbin. All right, so far we have an answer for 625 divided by 5 is 125, and 1,000 divided by 5, thank you, Jack, is 200. So I'm getting closer. Okay, I'm getting closer. My fraction is smaller, and so that's good. But it's still not in complete reduced form, and it is not out of 100, so I can't find the percent until I know what it is out of 100. So let's divide both of these numbers by 10. And tell me what you get. You might get something that's not an even number for that first one, and that's okay. I'm showing a bunch of stuff right now. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're getting a couple different answers. Oh, okay. So Corbin actually went up here and did this first problem. I started with this problem down here actually, but that's okay. So I'm just going to make this a little quicker for everyone. Most of my 6th graders at least should know that if you divide a number by 10, and 5th graders, all you're doing is just putting the decimal point back one place. You're just moving it over one place. So really, see, watch how you do that. You just make it one place smaller. You have 12.5 over 20. Well, okay, that's not too hard to understand. But remember, we want to work with something out of 100. Okay? And this is just to find the percent. So right away, I know that if I multiply 20 by 5, I'm going to get 100. So if you multiply 12.5 by 5, you're going to get 62.5. So right away, you can look at this number and you know that your percent is 62.5%. But here's a trick. I'm going to wipe this clean and show you what the very first thing looked like. Okay, so here's your decimal. Here was a fraction. Okay, and then here was our percent that we were able to find. Now, here's a little trick. I didn't want to show you until I showed you the correct way to actually get it to be out of 100. But if you look at a decimal and I want to turn this into a percent, all I need to do is move the decimal place over to the right 2 places, and that's it. And you will have 62.5%. Okay, so it's pretty easy to see. You can work backwards as well. So let's work backwards. I have a percent, 62.5%. I want to turn it into a decimal. I go 2 places to the left, and what do you know? I have 0.625. Okay, so look at the relationship between all of these numbers. They're all the same number. They are all representing the same thing. Here's the decimal format, here's the fraction format, and here's the percent format. Okay? All right, let's do one more example because this is good practice. I'm going to try to trick you, but you guys are pretty smart, so you're probably not going to get tricked. Okay. Ah, what did I do now? No. Undo. Undo. There. All right. I keep making my screen smaller. I don't want to do that. I have a number like 2 and 15/100ths. What does this whole number tell me? Anybody want to guess? Okay, like Sierra, hold on. I'm going to turn on your microphone. And sorry, we're going over in time, but that's okay because we had to cover a lot of stuff today. Okay, Sierra, what does this whole number tell you?
The whole number tells you that on the fraction, you will have a 2 next to whatever your fraction is, and your percent will probably be bigger than 100, maybe.
That is exactly right, Sierra. This 2 is a whole number. So I already have 200% and then 15/100ths. So if I write it as a fraction, I have 2 and, come on, pen, 15/100ths. Right away, I already know that this whole number is already 200%. Plus 15/100ths. Yeah, go ahead, Sierra. Your microphone's still on.
It looks like it's 215%.
Yes, it is. Exactly. So the final answer would be 215% for the percent format. Because remember, I told you that trick. If you just move it over 2 places, bada bing, bada boom, there you go. You have your percent. If you have your percent and you move it back 2 places, what do you know? You have your decimal format. But yes, so 15% is what I'm showing here. So your total, there you go. Okay, so not too difficult. Hopefully that helped. Kendall, send me a private message and let me know if that helped. Okay. Let's go to a little bit of practice. Okay, with all kinds of different math concepts. Very good. Okay, so we have a ton of different Jeopardies that we can choose from. And in the sake of time, we're going to probably just choose like, I don't know, we're not going to assign everybody a character. We're just going to type into the chat when we come up with our answers. And we'll all just kind of play against each other. So we just worked with fractions, decimals, and percents. So let's just look at that a little bit more. All right. 4 teams, that's fine, whatever. It does not matter. I'm not assigning anybody any of these characters. So we're going to practice a little bit, and I'm going to just start choosing these answers, or I'm sorry, these questions for the sake of time. So changing fractions to decimals, here we go. Fractions to decimals, so I have the fraction 1/4. So, okay, I have my fraction 1/4. I want to show it as a decimal. Most of you should actually recognize this because this is a very, very common fraction as 0.25. But if you were not able to just know this or remember it, here's how you would find it. Okay. Okay, so once I turn it into a part of 100, it gets a lot easier. So if I multiply 4 times 25 and then I multiply 1 times 25, I get 25 hundredths. Notice how I said that number, 25 hundredths. How do you write 25 hundredths as a decimal? Just like that. Okay? All right, so hopefully we all got our little warm-up question there. Let's look at, oh, I have to buzz in. Okay, I'm going to buzz in. All right, let's just keep on the same train of thought, going from fractions to decimals. Ooh, 2/5. Okay, so I'm going to kind of model this again. I have the fraction 2/5. Now, you might actually recognize it. It's a fairly common, actually 1/5 is really common. 1/5 equals 20 hundredths. So right away you should know what 2/5 equals. But let's just say you're sitting there and you don't know. You're like, what am I going to do? Turn it into a part of 100. So if you do 5 times 20, you'll get 100. 2 times 20, what do you know? You get 40 hundredths. How do you write 40 hundredths as a decimal? Just say it, 40 hundredths. There you go. So, correct answer. Do I need that 0 on the end? No, not really. So, here it is. Okay, give me a thumbs up in the chat or a happy face if this is making sense so far. Okay, Jacob's not understanding it. Jacob, you need to just hang with it. Okay, good, good. All right, let's try a harder one. Ooh, 7/8. Wow, okay, so, whoop. Let's wipe this clean. Does anybody know what 1/8 equals? Because that's a fraction that a lot of people actually, probably already know. Oh, wow. So this is one that you should be able to recognize. Just like you should be able to recognize 1/4 and all of those. Let me show you. 1/8 equals 125 hundredths. So right away, 1/8, you should just be thinking this in your head. You know that 1/8 equals 12.5%. Okay, so sorry, I went off on my little percent kick again. But now, instead of 1/8, I have 7/8. So could I just do 125 hundredths times, thousandths times 7? So go ahead and do that now. Good, Sierra. She's already worked it out. All right, so once you actually get that problem all multiplied, you would choose choice A. Oops, I got to buzz in. Okay, so Vero, you were just a couple numbers off. You probably just added them up incorrectly. Okay, fractions to percents. All right. 3/4. Oh, we just did this one not too long ago. Let's wipe this board clean. Okay. 3/4. Let's just say that I know you guys recognize this. This is 75%. That's an easy one. But let's just say you don't know. Turn it into a part of 100. What do I do to a 4? To get to 100, I have to multiply by 25. So what I do to the top, I do to the bottom. 3 times 25 is 75. Anything out of 100 is simple. You right away, you know that that equals 75%. Okay? All right, so that one was super easy. Yay! Hopefully it gets a little more difficult. Oh, 4/5. Actually, you guys probably, could be mental math for some of you. 1/5 equals 20%. So 4/5 would have to equal what? 20, 40, 60, 80%. Okay, because I just added up 20% 4 times. 20, 40, 60, 80%. Oh, whoops. Oops. Oh, wow. I just totally clicked on the wrong answer, but whatever. Okay. Round 5/6 to the nearest percent. All right, let's just look at this number. Do any of these really make sense? Okay, 5/6. That's almost 100%. 6/6 would be 100%. So if I'm looking at it, the only two good answers would be either A or D. Those are the only two that would make sense. So let's go, and Sierra's telling us A. Wipe this clean. 5/6. All right. So, Sierra, I'm gonna turn on your microphone, and and well, wow, you and Jaden are coming up with different answers. So I'm gonna turn on both Sierra and Jaden's microphones, and you guys are gonna tell me your thinking. Okay. So
I
Sierra
said A
first.
because
I
I said
think
A because
D
it was like, okay, to the nearest percent. So, and I just right now just zoned on what the real percent was, but I remembered I believe it was near 84%.
Okay. All right. That's one way to think about it.
I
Jaden.
believe I believe that it's D because it's I just think it's really close.
Okay. All right. Let me
With
show
the
you how to find out for sure. If I
with
want
the
to know for sure, I'm going to turn this into a division problem. And yes, you're thinking, why did she put the 5 under the house? Well, just bear with me. Add a decimal, add some zeros, and you would actually be able to work out this problem. 6 goes into 50 8 times. Oh, it's telling us we're running out of time. Okay, so I'm just going to speed it up. Dang it. Oh, sorry guys, my screen is paused. There we go. Okay, so once I turned this into a division problem, you would be able to see that 5/6 is closest to I'm sorry, I'm not going to say that anymore, is closest to 833 thousandths. Taking it a step further, if I have the decimal, 833 thousandths, I can turn this into a percent by just moving the decimal place 2 places, and then I would have 83.3%, right? Okay. All right, guys. Woo! Time is up. Okay, yes, I just said that. All right. Go ahead and type into the chat if a happy face, if any of that is helping as far as decimals and fractions and percents. Okay, good. At least you have a little bit of background knowledge on it. You might not be a complete expert at it yet, but at least you were able to see a couple of helpful tricks on how to convert between the three. Just remember, if you get to something out of 100, you're going to be fine. If you can get the number to be out of 100, and I'm just going to show you just one more. No, I turned off my pen. Never mind. You will be able to recognize it pretty easily. Okay, we have definitely run out of time for today, and you guys are probably getting antsy in your pantsy, and that's okay because we've been sitting here for a while. On your virtual, your VC agenda, there's a couple more links that you can click on. This link right here is really cool. It kind of shows you how to draw pictures for word problems. So I'll just say primary means like 4th grade. Primary 5 means 5th grade. So if you just click on one, it will give you a word problem and it will show you how to draw a picture to represent the word problem. So that oftentimes is a really good strategy when you get those kind of confusing word problems on tests. So that is there for you as well. You can also click on the Jeopardy game that I clicked on. And look, there is a ton of different games, math games that you can play. Okay? All right, guys. So it has been fun. I will stay on for just a couple minutes if anybody has any more questions or maybe wants to show me some more artwork or anything else. If not, have a good day. Pat yourself on the back, and I will see you next week.
Bye.
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 I just said hi. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, Jacob, let's do a little bit more practice with the percent stuff. Now that it's a few more people are kind of leaving, and definitely Corbin, if you want to stay, I'm going to help Jacob a little bit more with some of the percent and fraction type of stuff. So you're welcome to stay through that or not. Okay. All right, guys. So this is just a little bit more for percents. Okay, Jacob. So looking at, oh, sorry, I got to turn this pen back to black. Okay. Looking at a percent. What is going on? Sorry, once I turn off the pen, it just kind of, it's a pain. Yes, that's correct, Jacob. I'm seeing that in the chat. Okay, it's on. Sorry, it takes forever. Okay, so we're going to go back to that really simple example of 3 different ways to show the exact same number. Okay, so we have a decimal. We have 25 hundredths. 25 hundredths can be written as 25 out of 100, so 25 hundredths. Now, anything out of 100 can be looked at as a percent because percent is 100%. Think 0 to 100%, okay? You get 9 out of 10 questions right on a test, you have a 90%. So it's always out of 100. So if I have the good fortune of having a fraction out of 100, I can look at this and I know what the percent is, like right away, okay? So it's pretty easy to do, but let's look at maybe a fraction and a decimal that aren't so common. So let's look at something like 28 hundredths. I can write it as 28 hundredths, okay, which also equals 28%. Okay, so Jacob, you're telling me to wait? Okay, oh, okay, the 200%. Okay, so that one's more difficult. Let's draw a picture to show you some of those maybe a little bit harder examples. All right, so when we were working with 2 and 15 hundredths. Let's just draw a hundredths chart. Oh, that's terrible. Here's another hundredths chart. And here's another hundredths chart. I have, and just imagine that it's broken up into 100 different little boxes, okay? Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I have the whole number 2. So take a look. This entire box is filled up. The entire second box is filled up. And Jacob, how many are filled up from the last hundredths box? Only 15. So only like that much. Okay? So take a look, Jacob, right here. This is 100% because I have 100% of the box filled up plus another 100% of this second ugly box plus only 15% of this last box. There you go. Now you're getting it. So your final total would be the 215%. Yay! Did that help even though it's a terrible picture? No problem. Let's do one more hard one when that's a whole number and gets kind of confusing. Let's say we have the number 3 and 47 hundredths. Okay, so if I draw my first hundredths box, my second hundredths box, my third hundredths box, and then my fourth hundredths box, I have, that's right, Jacob. Yes, I'm going to cover all 3. So I have 100% plus 100% plus 100% plus only 47 of this last one. So 347%. Yay! Okay, maybe I just needed to draw pictures. Yeah, no problem. All right, guys, well, you are free to go. Remember to, click on a couple of these fun links on this agenda that I sent out because these drawing pictures strategies are really good. So, bye, Jacob. Okay. And Corbin, why don't you send me a message if you feel like maybe turning on your webcam and just giving me a quick wave today? Or if not, then you can just tell me that as well in the chat. I'll turn on my webcam. My hair's not brushed, so I look really, really terrible. It's pretty funny. Okay, and Jack and Will, they're actually not here, I don't think, right now. They actually stepped away from their computer, but hi. See, I cut my hair. Looks terrible because I have not showered yet today, but you have like a little bit longer A-line bob thing going on. Yeah, whatever. Do you have any more artwork you'd like to show me? It's totally up to you. And I'll just wait for a couple minutes and see if you feel like turning it on. I'm going to find something fun to show you. I don't know. Let's see. Kitty, you want to come up here and talk to Corbin? Come here, Kitty. He's on a sunny patch on the floor. So, oh. Let's see. I'll show you some pictures while you think about maybe turning on your webcam. I got to turn off this sketch pad. Give me just a second. We're going to get rid of sketch. Quit. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's look at some fun pictures. Yay. All right, 1 year photos. That's always fun. Okay, let's look. Why won't it play a slideshow? You probably know this. All right, well, whatever. So that is Nicholas, Natalie and Nicholas. I need to make this bigger. Hold on, let's go to my iPhoto. Takes forever. You can see it bouncing there on the bottom. Yeah. No, okay, there's my friend Shannon. Yay! All right. Let's see some pictures from the last 12 months. Okay, there we go. Fun stuff, Corbin. So we have my son smashing his cake. Um, that's my husband, and there's Nicholas. Oh, look, there he is walking. Pretty exciting stuff. There's Natalie. You met Natalie. They're not here right now. Here they are taking a bath after their messy cake smashing. Here we are outside sledding. Pretty fun. Cute pictures. Oh, there they are playing with their little horses. Cute. I'm a typical mom. I obviously have a ton of pictures of my babies, but oh. And nothing else is very interesting to take pictures of. When you get to a certain age, you just yeah. Oh. All right, Corbin. I will stay on for maybe 1 more minute, and if you want to turn on your webcam, that's cool. I have been brave enough to show you my terrible hair. And if not, then that's cool too. But maybe you can plan, oh, well, you know, it's kind of a bummer is next week is TCAP, and then the week after that is high school TCAP. And so all of the teachers have to be there to give the test or whatever because there's so many kids. So we won't have a virtual classroom again for like another 2 weeks, like right before spring break. So this might be your last opportunity for a little while. But that's okay. You can kind of plan for 2 weeks from now to, I don't know, maybe put aside a couple pieces of art or something that you would maybe want to show me or something in your room. If you have like some kind of cool toy or something. So, all right, friend. Well, I'm going to let you go because I'm getting kind of thirsty and I've been talking now for like an hour and a half. So I will see you. I will see you at TCAP. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting now. Bye, Corbin.